So, you want to connect with your Starseed family, and they sent me here to help you. I'm Priestess Ishtah, and today we are going to learn seven, maybe a little bit more, but at least seven steps on how you can connect with your Starseed family. So let's begin. If you find yourself being attracted to this video and this type of content, if you hear snoring in the background, that's my dog. But if you find yourself being attracted to this type of topic, it is because already that you are starting to open up your connection with your star seed family, or they are trying to open up that connection with you. I do want to put in a few disclaimers about this video and this type of content. And first of all, I want to make sure that we are approaching this with a mentally healthy mindset. Spiritual psychosis is a real thing. So if you feel that you are at risk of spiritual psychosis, I want you to speak with a licensed professional in your local area. There are a lot of licensed psychotherapists that are available online through BetterHelp and other platforms. I am not sponsored. I'm just letting you know what's available to you. I am not licensed. While I am a student training in a mental health field right now, I am not fully licensed. So anyone that feels that they are needing to get more help, please make sure that you are securing your own mental health. So those are the disclaimers and warnings because we are going to talk very deeply. I am an occultist before I am anything else. So I'm going to go into the deep esoterics of giving you ways to connect with your starseed family. So having an important mindset is very important to me. The next thing that I want to talk about is making sure that you have a way to record notes. So I don't want you to just approach this as a YouTube video. It's not that. This is a free course. This is a free class. This is a free workshop, so to speak, for you to really connect with your higher self and to really connect with a different ability or set and access a set of abilities that you didn't know that you once possessed or had access to. So when we start connecting with our star seed fleet or star seed family, star seed tribe, there are different names that many of us like to call it: our star seed homeland, our star seed master race. It doesn't matter what you prefer to call it. That's totally open to you. I'm not here to correct what your beliefs are. I'm only going to be supplying you with tools and resources that will hopefully, I feel that it will fortify your ability to further expand on your own belief system and change that belief into a solid knowing so that you can become in more conscious contact with those higher spiritual parts that we don't really get to experience as much in this denser physical realm. So with all that fluffy stuff said, let's get into it. Please again have something to write with, and write on and write with, or record notes, please. So let's start with what a starseed fleet actually is. A starseed fleet is a celestial family. It's a celestial tribe. It's a celestial origin that you may feel a natural correlation to or a natural connection and tie towards. We have families on earth, and many of us who are able to have access to our family records, your surname is a connection to your earthly family and your earth family origin. And oftentimes that surname, for many of us, not for all cultures, but that surname can be traced back after lineage after lineage. So in a way, a starseed fleet or a starseed family and a starseed tribe, and my intention for you to have this information in this video is to understand that a starseed family fleet tribe is just in a lot of ways, is your cosmic origin. It's a cosmic family. It's a starseed birth that you had somewhere lifetimes and lifetimes ago when other star systems and galaxies existed. So when we are approaching our starseed family and our starseed fleet in this particular workshop course or class, I want you to approach this as if you are tapping into your Akashic records and that you are accessing a part of you that is so ancient and so far removed that it's not really about you connecting with something outside of yourself for worship. I do not ever support anyone on the path of spirituality to do just sheer idol worship, because the God does live within. The same source supreme that created the cosmos created you. So it doesn't make sense to worship something that is outside of you. So with that said, when you make these connections or when you start to feel these excuse me, these vibrations and activations of, oh yes, I do feel connected to this star seed. I do feel connected to that one. Please do not take it overboard and don't start creating shrines and worshiping these things unless you really feel called to do that. That might be something that you want to do. So let's begin. Now that you have a little bit more of an understanding what a starseed fleet is and a starseed family is, some of you are connected to this video because you are accessing your Akashic records. So as you go into this with that knowing that either this can be for fully sheer entertainment purposes only, educational purposes only, or you can really dive and delve into your own mystical magic. So one of the first things that I want you to write down is you want to know who your starseed fleet is. If you're going to start to connect to your starseed family, you're going to want to know who they are. And I know that might sound very ambiguous, but it's actually not that far apart from you as far as that knowing is not that far away from you than you think. When you want to identify who your starseed family is, here are a few quick tips on how to do this. The first thing is you want to maybe start with looking up different alien races. Maybe you've come across different videos in the past, or you've come across some type of articles, research, and an episode of Ancient Aliens or similar shows that explore the galaxies. So however you may have come across it in a podcast, you may have run into individuals that talk about ancient alien races, and they talk about how there were race wars that have caused cosmic star systems to collapse and its demise and the birth of new star seed systems. And some of that can be evidential in what our scientists are starting to learn about Mars and how Mars is just scorched. It looks like it was blown up. And those of you who want to go a little bit deeper, a lot of these celestial wars that happened are depicted in the Upanishads and ancient Hindu text. They do talk a lot, not they do, but the stories that are told there are not just mythical folklore, they are actual historical cosmic history. So if you can kind of look into folklore, and I know we're saying to look into folklore for the truth, but that sometimes sci-fi is the truth, and the truth is not the truth. As weird and twisted as that sounds, but without going down that rabbit hole, looking up the different alien races will help you to determine which ones you most identify with. There's a little bit of controversy around this gentleman, but from my studies and my research with his content, a lot of it has resonated. And when I connect with my ancestral, when I check with my guardians, they've said that a lot, not all, but a lot of it has checked out. And that is Master Malachi Z. York. And I'm not affiliated with Nubian or whatever the new tribes that they go under, but I do have a lot of respect for the work and contributions that he and his members have given to the Black community, and also just the occult and esoteric studiers worldwide, because not everyone, not just Black people study ancient aliens, and not just white people do it, not just Hispanics, not just one group. It's a human history. So a lot of his work, he has a book called The Origins of, or the Ancient, you know what? I'll just put it up here because I don't remember the name offhand, and I did not write it down in my notes. But I'm getting the channel now to mention his works to you, and to even see if you can get this book. Looking at the different alien races, doing your research, and seeing which alien races are actually out there. But please beware of fictional characters. While we are saying you can sometimes rely on folklore that's found in religious texts, such as the Upanishads and other ancient Hindu texts, there is also, sometimes there are like posers and imposters. So in Marvel mythical characters, what will happen, and what I mean by posers and imposters, imposters is what I mean to say. I'm channeling and I'm talking, so forgive me if like I feel if it feels a little flighty, y'all. But one of the things that I'm hearing is with Marvel characters, sometimes you may come across like an actual character in Marvel who has swapped the identity from a figure that is from mythology, or swapped the identity from a figure that is in somebody's cultural folklore. For example, I'm hearing Anansi, which is the spider god in Yoruban folklore, and I'm also getting the depiction of Medusa. So these are actual gods; these are actual deities to cultural groups. But Marvel and other animation, cartoon, fan fiction industries will sometimes use these characters and bring them to life. But what that can also do is it can skew the information that you are reviewing online, because instead of you looking at actual historic origins through the mythology and folklore told through these cultures, you're actually looking at fan favorite facts. Medusa can throw lightning bolts from her snake dreads. It's like, what? So make sure that you're deciphering which alien entities that you're looking up are actual entities or actual races or actual race beings and origins, as opposed to a Marvel or DC or fan fiction created realm. And I'm going to say that not to rule those energies out either, but this is not about connecting with created deities or created entities. This is about connecting with your starseed fleet. So if you're interested on learning on how you can create a deity, because essentially that's what Marvel is, let me know and I can teach you how. Okay, so the other thing that I want you to know are a few common races. So when you hear me say, well, do your research and look up what are the alien races, which ones kind of attract to you most. And you can use Google, you can use, or just use the internet. I don't want to just say Google, but you can use the internet. You can use also any type of AI programming. A lot of times they will give you details as to certain star seed systems that you may be connected to. Even by entering in your birthday, you can identify this through astrology sometimes, because if you are, let's say, a Pisces, then you will be Neptunian and ruled by Jupiter, excuse me, Neptunian ruled and Jupiter ruled. So you can also kind of navigate from there. Okay, in Neptune, what are the star seed systems in relation to Neptune? And it's just going to bring you back to our Milky Way. But you can kind of go out and learn from there the other moons and stars. But we'll talk about that more in the next points. Some of the more familiar star, or I should say familiar animal alien races that you may have heard or may have not, are the Lyrans. Those are like the lion, cats, tigers entities. They made a very special appearance, I'm hearing, in like the 80s. Their energy, like there was an energy surge that came to us in the 80s, and there was a cartoon. I can't remember the cartoon, but if you know the cartoon that had like I'm seeing a lion fighter or something like that. It's yeah. So yeah, that energy is very fierce. They're noble fighters. The Pleiadians, a lot of us are very familiar with hearing about Pleiadians. I have mixed feelings on them, so I'm not going to talk too much about Pleiadians, and that might have something to do with my own starseed upbringing. But Pleiadian energy is very highly intelligent, highly cerebral, and also they just have supreme intelligence. We also have the Syrians. Syrians are directly connected to ancient Egypt and Syria, present day Syria. That's where we get the word, or the word for the country, Syria, because it's believed in those ancient lands. That's why there's always war and turmoil over there. It's because they want the relics and they want um, the ancient alien, I'm hearing relics and powers that are over there. They tell you that the war is for something else, but it is. It is a religious war too. It is also that, because as above, so below. But there are also hidden shadow agendas that occur under the world power entities. And in Syria is where you will find a lot of that. And that is also where you'll find our ancient human races, such as the Sumerians or ancient Egypt or the um, Assyrian as well, Assyrian race, and this human races. So Syrians come from a particular starseed system that if you're interested in learning about that, I recommend that you look up Sirius. Next, you have a familiar race, and that is the reptilians. A lot of folks are like, when they hear reptilian, they either like, yes, reptilians, or they're like, ooh, I don't want to talk about that weird shit. But like with anything, approach it with the knowing that there are good and bad in all things. So this just names a few. There's also the Greys, there are also the Venusians. There are a lot of starseed races. So these are the more primary ones. And as I mentioned, the races with Dr. Malachi Z. York some of them are from inner earth, like Agartha, and from Shambhala, while others are from external starseed galaxies, such as the Anunnaki. So that's all part one. Let's go into our second step. The next thing that I would recommend that you do if you want to begin to truly start that connection with your starseed family is to meditate under the stars. When you meditate under the stars, you are going to open up that portal that is within you, and it will naturally align you to the celestial bodies that you are surrounded by. The same way it will naturally align you to the energies that you are near. Here's a tip, or a pro spiritual tip, for those of you who identify as empath. Don't meditate around everybody, because you are receptive to the energy in the environments and the people in those environments in which you meditate. That's why personally, I don't do group meditations. I don't lead them, and I don't like to receive them. And if I do lead them, it's often in a very safe circle, or I will record it so that way the individual can, or the individuals that are listening, like on YouTube, on my other channel, which I'll put the information below, the individuals can listen to it at their own, their own discretion. So when you are meditating under the stars, I recommend that you know which starseed constellation you want to connect with most. So a lot of what I will say will kind of bring you back to number one, not all, but a lot of it. So you kind of want to know if you're feeling more drawn to Pleiadians, if you're feeling more drawn to the Andromedans, if you're feeling more drawn to Syrians. And sometimes you can, even through apps on your phone, or if you are really into science, you can use telescopes or actual tools where you can identify where that constellation is and align yourself. You don't have to travel 100 miles and do this, not unless you're adventurous and you want to, but you can try your best to align yourself under that celestial body, and or that constellation is what I should say, and try to channel messages from your starseed family. So please, with this step, as with all of the steps, make sure that you are exercising safety. If you are going to be going out and meditating in the dark, actually in nature and outdoors, I want you to be safe. Don't just go somewhere and not tell someone where you're going. Make sure the environment is safe for you to be there, animal wise, nature wise, and also just people wise. So we don't want to expand our spiritual studies in nature with the risk of hurting ourselves. That's never something that I want to institute here in my platforms. So tell somebody, make sure you have a safety plan if you're going to choose to do option number two, or um, tech, tip number two, which is meditating under the stars. And also, when you are choosing to do this, and you don't have to go outside to meditate under the stars, you can actually meditate in your home under the stars. You can face the direction. You can face north, west, south, northwest, southwest. You can always sit in the direction, or you can draw the constellation and put it somewhere, maybe on your ceiling or somewhere in front of you, and you can also do it that way. But when you do choose to do this step, make sure you have, like with this course, make sure that you have something to write with, because more than likely you're going to be receiving channeled messages back from your starseed family. Or you might just start to get breakthroughs, ideas, or solutions to your problems. You never know what might come through. A name might come through. That's how I got my Priestess Ishtah. I have actually an expanded spiritual name. It's my spiritual indigenous name. And that is how I got my name, my spiritual name. I channeled it through meditating under the stars. So that could be something that you will have as a revelation, as a prophecy. So keep a notebook handy when you do this. But as with all things, we are opening ourselves up to higher intelligences. And sometimes those higher intelligences can be a little tricky to navigate when it comes to knowing what is for the best of you and humanity and what goes against us. So don't just think because you're sitting there using your meditation abilities, and you could be meditating for 20 years or for 2 days and learned it 2 hours ago, and you're opening yourself up. We are opening ourselves up to the unseen. When you look at the sky at night, it is not lit up. It is black, purple, like the cosmos, like the great black mother. So with that, we are opening ourselves up to a shadow realm. And this is not to scare you, but this is to warn you and to equip you ahead of time. So how should you enter this part? I would recommend that you protect your energy by putting up a shield. Or what I have written down here is an energy ward. So ward your energy, put up a defense protection shield around your aura. You can do this just through your mind and visualization. And those of you who are not very good with visualization, just state the command. I now put up my protection ward. And you can drop your ward when you're done as well. You don't have to keep that defense system up all the time, because it's not really necessary unless you're doing some channeling with the celestials. And also, I recommend that you do a type of cleansing before. And if you don't do it before, definitely do something afterwards. However, your spiritual cleansings work for you. So let's move on to our next tip and technique, and that's number three. Number three might sound a lot like number two, but if you're really serious about connecting with them, you're also going to want to stargaze. And stargaze may feel like a more softer approach versus just meditating under the stars. Stargazing is different because it is more of a visual telepathy. It doesn't require so much focus on the inner, it's more so focusing on the outer, so to speak, because you will be actually looking at that celestial body. Now, again, this might be difficult for some of us because you may have to use a scientific device such as a telescope, and you may not have that. You may not have a telescope on hand. You may not have access to those resources because of loved ones who have telescopes because they're geeks or nerds like myself, or maybe they're not. But me and my father, we share a passionate interest in like the planets and just looking at the moon and the stars through telescopes. I didn't realize that he was into it until like one time I went to visit my parents. I'm like, "You like telescopes?" I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, this is a whatever, whatever, whatever." I'm like, he spends like thousands of dollars on them. Anyhow, I digress. So if you have like access to loved ones or people who have shared hobbies and interests, there might even be groups, scientific historic groups or scientific groups that you can join, that you can join locally and use public public telescopes. Or I'm being shown like sometimes there are scientific observatories that might open up their labs to the public once a year, once a month, once whatever, or give you a tour to their research lab if you pay a little money. And you may be able to even use the equipment there to view your constellation in which your starseed family is connected to. But another thing that you can do that's far more simple is just by going to like a planetarium or looking online. I think looking online might be the easiest way for you to see what NASA and other science, astronomical, scientific governing companies and organizations have collected through satellite imagery. So it doesn't always have to be something that you're doing physically. It can be something that you do virtually. But if you're going to do this virtually, do not rob yourself of the experience of looking through a telescope. Don't rob yourself of the experience of trying to identify a constellation with the naked eye. There are apps that can help you with this, and it's actually really fun. So find your way of doing this, find your niche, and dive in. When you're stargazing, stars are they're very hypnotizing. And sometimes you might already find yourself that, I'm always looking at this one star and it's always twinkling and it's always this, it feels like it's always following me. Chances are that's your starseed family. Chances are that's your starseed fleet. Chances are that's your starseed ship that is right there watching, observing, protecting you. So it can be as easy as that by finding that one star, and maybe the other stars are hidden in the constellation from the naked eye, but using an app or using a scientific device like a telescope may help you to see more of that constellation. But I did see that, oh, two other things. You can also try just identifying the major celestial bodies. So if, let's say, you feel attracted to the planet Neptune or the planet Jupiter or Saturn, and you're attracted to some of Saturn's moons, you can try to align with finding the celestial bodies like the moons, or if you're in other galaxies, you can find out what other star systems like the Betelgeuse galaxy and the Milky Way galaxy and Andromedan galaxies. There are so many galaxies that are out there that we actually are starting to be able to see more and more in science. There are also celestial suns that you can, other sun systems or I should say solar systems, you can try to align your energy and just look and see where those might be indicated. Some say that there are even two suns. I've actually seen two suns in the sky at once. I have an old video of it. I'll see if I can find it. I won't add it here because it's in like an old phone, but if I find it, I'll like post it one day on my Instagram or something. But yes, there are two suns. I think it is on my Instagram, actually. It's an old video. Anyway, so if you're not following me on Instagram, you absolutely should. And also, I have another channel and other platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Pinterest, as well as my second channel on YouTube, which is a pick a card channel only for pick a card readings. I did get a warning, so this is what I was going to say before, because there was a very clear warning that came in from the celestial, I guess, what do they call themselves? They call themselves the Galactic Federation or similar, right? If I messed it up, excuse me. But they mentioned that do not study black holes. It's not like don't study them, don't learn anything about them. But I mean, some of them are like, it's not even that. It's like, don't make light of this. Don't make this a joke. Okay, sorry. It's the Syrian in me. But they're saying that black holes are very dangerous to our minds because we are not ready yet to fully understand what they are. A lot of um I'll just put it like this, it's not in our realm of understanding in this lifetime or in this journey. So try your best not to really observe black holes or listen to the sounds of black holes, because I do know that they have the sounds of like star systems on scientists have been able to capture sound from space, which is like fucking mind blowing to me, because how is it making it's a vacuum sound because it can't make sound because there's nothing to ricochet off because it's just open space. But we've been capturing more and more through like some type of vacuum sound capturing device, um, how things sound. And I remember listening to a black hole once, and then the second that I put it on, I turned it off. Even now, I'm thinking about it, I'm getting chills. So I don't know what it is about black holes. I did not ask. And as I say that, I'm thinking about other stuff. But stop. So don't look at the black holes. Don't study them too deeply. I'm hearing that it has a very strong potential to drive you mad. It's like people who walk the dark path and they start to do Satanism and Luciferianism and demonic work, and they start fucking with the Baphomet, but they don't know. You better balance that energy out, because that energy will drive your ass insane. A, if it's not in your blood to tap into that, and B, if you don't balance it out with the light. So that's for those of you who understand it in the occult perspective. That's what I mean. Those who don't, just stay away from the black hole. Okay, so number 4 is moldavite. Moldavite is one of my go-to, I don't even want to call it a crystal because it's not, it's a meteorite. And the meteorite that landed, it's a meteorite that landed here, I forget when. I'll put that on the screen. But long story short, it landed here. And when it did, we collected some of the space material and we called it moldavite. And we have, moldavite A is very expensive. And we have been farming it. I think scientists have found a way to farm moldavite from what we now have on Earth. But the original moldavite crystal, and it hit somewhere in Czechoslovakia. I believe it was Czechoslovakia at the time. And that crystal is still sellable. So a lot of times, and I'm telling you this background information for a reason, okay? You want to know this background details because if you choose to work with this technique to connecting with your starseed fleet, moldavite, there's a lot of tricksters out there. So there are a lot of people who are saying that they're selling you real moldavite, and they're not. The moldavite that I purchased was from this was 10 years ago, so I couldn't even tell you the vendor, but it was from a Czech store owner, small shop owner. They were in Czech Republic. Excuse me if I'm not saying this correctly. I don't mean disrespect. And they had a little crystal. It was like, it's no bigger than an American dime coin. And it was like $40, $50. Now, this is not to talk shade about that company. They sold me real moldavite. And how I know, or how you will know that you have, if you're like, oh, I got moldavite, let me go get it right now. This is how you know that you have real moldavite. When you touch it, it's hot. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what it is in that stone. But whenever you are touching moldavite, it feels like there's electricity. It feels like, I don't know if anyone has ever had like dry ice. You might have like touched it a little bit, or it's like it's cold but it's hot, or it's like not hot but it's hot and it's uncomfortable. And if you put it anywhere like on your third eye, you can feel like intense vibration. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't feel this, it's not a real crystal. It's just maybe because I'm more clairsentient that this is how I was able to identify it. Other ways that you can identify if you have real moldavite is to make sure that it looks more like translucent, and that when you can see through it on the inside, there are other like crystal prisms in there. Sometimes you might see little air bubbles, and too many air bubbles could mean that it's like plastic that a machine like piped air to inflate the plastic to make it look in a crystallized formation or crystallized shape. My last tip when you're buying moldavite, and really any crystal or stone, even though moldavite is technically not a crystal or stone, it is a meteorite. Moldavite, and I said any crystal or stone, look at the ratings, look at the reviews. Don't just say, oh, it's $14.97. Oh, let me put it in my cart and get it now. No, look at the reviews, look at what other people have said about this store or this shop, and go with the smaller store and shop owners. Don't go with the big. I try to stay away from the big conglomerates places because I feel that they just mass produce and mass source things. But you might have a really good store that you run into, or a really good like shop or contact, and that's like good. But for the most part, if you are looking for real moldavite, I've found more success, with smaller shops. And this way you can build that relationship with the store owner. You can message them and ask them questions about their sourcing and their authenticity of their products. Okay. So keep those tips with everything. But let's talk a little bit about moldavite and why I really love it. I personally use moldavite anytime I wanted to open up my telepathy abilities. And I actually used moldavite and opened up my telepathy abilities greatly. There is an elixir that I made that I will not be sharing here. But I will be sharing this secret elixir with you in another way. So stay tuned for more details on that. But this magical telepathic elixir that I'm not selling, I will teach you how to do this yourself. It will open you up as well psychically. And these are all properties that are easy to get. You don't have to pay a lot of money. And if you don't make elixirs, you can also make oils with moldavite that can open up your spiritual properties. I do want to say, with everything, exercise caution. Do not overuse this crystal. Do not overuse working with it. Only work with it when you need to, like, and only for a few seconds at a time. Like I said, we are working with higher sciences and higher intelligences. So you don't want to let something in because you're trying to connect with your starseed family so desperately. Don't. And I should have put this as a warning in the beginning, but don't go into this shit desperate, y'all. Don't go into this like I'm so alone. And even if you are alone, and honey, I've been there, I am there, I get it. But don't go into this all alone, desperate and needing and wanting to connect with your starseed fleet, that you're skipping steps that will protect your psyche, that protects your intuition, that protects your mind, protects your emotional body, and protects your physicality. I don't want nobody ending up in a psych ward, and I don't say that lightly. I don't want anybody ending up in a psych ward because you did not exercise caution and you went too deep. Okay? Don't get caught in that riptide. Come back. Come back. Come back. So please balance when you're using moldavite. Do not overuse it. Do not use it every day. And do not use it for multiple hours. Just for a little bit, and build your tolerancy to it. And monitor how you feel afterwards for days, sometimes weeks to come. Okay? Symptoms from the come down will show. And I recommend with this, when you're working with moldavite, to always ground afterwards. Do a grounding exercise. Whatever you do, there are breathing techniques, there are floor techniques, there are somatic techniques. Everybody got their own damn grounding technique. Find one that works for you. And please do that anytime that you are using moldavite and are finishing your session. So let's go into, now that I've scared the living dickens out of you, let me give you number 5, which is enhancing your telepathy. Speaking of moldavite, moldavite is not the only way that you can enhance your telepathy, obviously, but it is one of the fastest ways in which I've done it, and I've helped others too as well. So enhancing your telepathy overall, though, as a separate step from moldavite, is a great way for you to connect with your starseed fleet, because when you enhance your telepathy, you make sure that you're able to use a part of the mind or a part of communication, let's say. And those of you who don't know what telepathy is, it's just the ability to share messaging through your mind. Okay. Whether it's visual messaging, you can hear the messaging, or you can just like see words. It's just having conversations through the mind. And a lot of other celestial races and entities and beings, they're already able to do this. Animals communicate telepathically. Our plants and trees communicate in their own form of, they're telling me it's telepathy, but not how we do it, because they don't have like the plant mind and the pineal gland. So there's something very unique about the human design, which is very much so the God factor, the God particle, more advanced. Okay. And I'm not saying that we're more advanced than plants and trees, because in some regards they might be more advanced than us, but that pineal gland acts as that antenna that allows you to get to the galaxy, to get to communicate to higher intelligences that only use telepathy. Also, so that you can have a deeper understanding to those that surround you. So let's talk about those that are somewhere in the cosmos. Now, we want you, again, I feel like I've been saying this more than anything, but make sure you're always practicing safe measures. When you're working with your third eye, yes, you can overstimulate it. And when we overstimulate our third eye, it can lead to mental illness. Mental illnesses that are often associated with this are symptoms of hallucinations and delusions, hearing things and seeing shit that ain't there. And how do we know it's not there? Because others cannot confirm what it is that you are hearing and seeing. That's the definition. That's how we can define what a delusion is and a hallucination is. If I'm seeing and hearing something, but there are four other people in that room and they don't see and hear what I'm seeing and hearing, that can be considered a delusion or hallucination, not to be confused with divination. Okay? Very different. But one is of the healthy mind, one is not of the healthy mind. And another thing, when you are working with your sense of telepathy and you want to make sure that you're using strength, or you're using techniques that are going to be strengthening your mind versus weakening your mind, is you also want to ensure that you are already going into this mentally kind of stable. So if you have diagnoses of such as schizophrenia or other diagnoses that have a lot to do with hallucinations and delusions, then you want to be very careful with this step. You may not even want to do this part without speaking first with your mental health practitioner or similar. Okay. And I know it's going to be difficult to say, hey, I wanted to open up my third eye. What do you think about that, doc? It may not be a conversation that you can have with every clinician. So make sure you are having these conversations in a trusted environment. So, one of the ways in which we can strengthen our mind is by doing different types of exercises and different types of techniques. So, don't just try one thing that opens up your telepathy. Try a few. I gave you a lot with the Moldavite. If you're looking for more techniques on how to open up your third eye, I want you to let me know, because I'm already kind of at time with this video and I want to shorten it up and kind of close this up because I have two more. But overall, telepathy is very easy. I'll give you a really, really quick and simple, fast way in which I did it. Please always approach your mind, because to approach your mind, the mind is all and the universe is mental. So you are approaching God when you approach the mind. So have respect when you do. One of the ways that I have done so in the past is by listening to psychic frequencies. So one of my favorite, so you got to be careful with the frequencies that you're listening to. A lot of people are just putting out bullshit and saying, oh, this is going to connect you to this. And it's just like, it's nothing. It's just a visual and it's the same damn track. Y'all notice it's like the same soundtrack over and over again. It's like, is this the only 963 hertz that y'all got? 369 hertz that you got? 432 hertz? Like 44 hertz? It's like the same sounding stuff. So my ear is ringing as I'm saying that. So be very selective on what you listen to. Don't just think because somebody advertises it as that and they have hundreds of thousands of views that it's official. If it resonates with your soul and you feel that vibration within, go with it. If not, I would skip it. One of the ones that really works for me is the Meditative Mind. They are here on YouTube. It's called Meditative Mind or the Meditative Mind. Either way, if you put Meditative Mind, you will find them. Most of their videos are like 10 years old. But when I came across them, especially their Schumann resonance video, which is great for grounding, and their higher vibration video and their youthing video. Girl, that youthing video got a girl. Okay, you should, and it's just simple. It's not advertisements. It's not a bunch of this, not a bunch of that. It's not, they're not selling you a bunch of shit. And I don't even know if they still make videos. So Meditative Mind, shout out to y'all for your contributions to my spiritual health. Okay. But listening to those, they have a pineal gland frequency one. And what I like about Meditative Mind is they use different hertz frequencies, and they tell you which hertz frequencies that they've blended together. And you can take those number hertz and you can look up and say, oh, this is opening this is opening this chakra, this is opening and healing that. And you can kind of make your own formula from that by knowing which hertz you respond to best. Okay, so our next one is all about planetary magic. And if you're following along with me, I'm writing this down, it's number 6, or connecting with your starseed family. And this doesn't mean, or it could mean for some of you, lighting candles and getting incense that use the fragrances that are associated with certain planetary bodies. Or it could just also mean you using mantras and also um, mudras from the body and different hand symbols and gestures that activates the portals within you to connect you with those celestial bodies. So if you're saying to yourself, what the hell is this girl talking about right now? There's actually a book by Donald Tyson, a world-renowned teacher, occultist, and spiritualist, so to speak. And he's written many books on the occult. Donald Tyson. And he wrote a book called Kinetic Magic. In this book, he discussed in great depth how there are different hand gestures, body gestures, and movements that you can do in order to align with the planetary energy of a particular planetary body that we have access to. It's about understanding how science works. So if you can understand how, or start to begin that connection with the planets and celestials within our Milky Way system and our bodies, or excuse me, our Milky Way system and the celestial bodies that reside here, it has the potential to open you up and develop the ability to see which other starseed races are out there. I think a lot about Dolores Cannon. I believe that is her name, or Dolores Cannon. If I'm saying it incorrectly, forgive me. But she talks a lot about how starseed origins have come in and have arrived here. And the way that she was able to get that information was through hypnosis and hypnotizing her guests or her patients or clients in a clinical setting and getting details onto how they arrived here. And many of those souls that have journeyed here, and from her work, we get things like rainbow children, indigo children, crystal children. But many of those souls who came here and are on this planet now, some of us are adults, some of us are older, younger, are still arriving. They were they were from different planetary systems, some within our galaxy, some from other galaxies. So when you work with planetary magic, you're able to connect with the celestial bodies that are in our star system through you. You're able to make that direct connection with them. You're able to channel and harness the powers and energies from those star seed systems. Again, if you're working with Martian energy and you wanted to know the gestures for Mars, that's great for protection. It's also great for money because Mars is about our energy. It's about how we create stability for ourselves and through protecting what is ours, protecting our assets, protecting the wealth of self, the wealth of self. So this is what I mean when I say that planetary magic might be an option for some of you. For others, this might be something that is too far removed for you and you can't get down with it. But it is a very interesting field if you're interested in learning more. My next and final tip is going to be a very easy one. It is the most low cost one out of every one I just said. And it's something that you're already doing. I promise you, you're already doing it. Whether you remember or not, that's different. But you are already doing dream travel and astral traveling. So the last and final way that I want to recommend for you to connect with your starseed fleet is through dream travel, through astral projection. So these are two kind of different things. Dream traveling is done more involuntarily. You fall asleep, you have a dream, you're like, whoa, where am I? How did I end up here? Or you have a nightmare and you're like, whoa, where am I? How did I end up here? And astral projection is the actual conscious, when I should say your consciousness traveling with the intention to travel to another space or another place. Some individuals can astral project and end up on a planet near Pluto, or end up on Pluto itself, and or be observing Pluto from space. And others can astral project, and they call it remote viewing, and they can see what their neighbor is doing or what someone is doing across the world. I'm not really here to tell you to do astral projection for those reasons. I actually don't support astral projection. I feel that astral projecting can come with a lot of trouble and issues, and that being the psychopomps who exist on the other side and will hop into your body. And you might think that you heading back into your body because your cord is tethered, but you already have another spirit or an entity that was waiting and jumped in your body. So I don't mean to scare anyone off from astral projection. I'm just saying that if you're going to do it, be very trained, be very well seasoned, almost like at a CIA federal government agent level. All right. Confirmation. When it comes to dream traveling, though, that's a little different. Dream traveling, when in relation to connecting with your starseed family, there's a few things that you can do. First, you can keep a log of all of the dream messages that you get, because just by saying to yourself, I want to connect with my starseed fleet tonight when I go to sleep, that opens up the connection. And it doesn't mean that that night you're going to have your dream, you're going to know all this, you're going to meet them, they're going to throw you a welcome home party. It doesn't mean that, or it could. Or maybe you do have that dream and you don't remember. It's okay. Either way, things like this will take practice. So this is why it's really good and really important to keep a dream log, a journal. There are so many apps now that before they just used to be kind of like rudimentary, like, here, record your dream. But now they're very like magical, like, oh, what were the insights? Did you feel happy? Did you feel sad? Or and they also have tags that you can create in the app. So that way, if you constantly have dreams, for example, I kept dreaming about a huge approaching red sun. And this was about 2 or 3 years ago. A huge approaching red sun, a huge approaching red sun. And other individuals were having dreams like this at the same time too. And to my understanding, what I got was that this was planet Nibiru arriving, or either like just doing something. So that over time, I was able to see a log like, wow, I've had this many dreams about Nibiru. And it just opened me up to a different understanding on what my abilities could do. So you don't have to be so active in when you're doing dream work. It's more of a passive thing, if anything. You just have to set the intention and trust that the intention will travel, or will know where you want, I should say, to travel to in the end destination. And by no means are we saying end destination to resemble something that will terminate you. I'm just talking about the end result that you're seeking. So I do also recommend that you keep a dream decoder. So do you always see a purple elephant in the corner? Do you always see a green banana swinging from clouds? Do you always see two dancing chipmunks wearing pink tutus? Like, keep dream decoders, because we might want to chat GPT or look everything up on the internet or research from another reader. What did this mean to you? But your spiritual body and your starseed fleet might be telling you something else. Like, it might mean something different for y'all and where y'all come from. So keep a dream decoder so that every time you see this, you can start to connect what the feeling was, what happened that next day, what happened that day before. And ultimately, over time, this can become your own dream Bible and your own dream codex. Another thing that can help you to channel the energy of your starseed fleet, again, if you know who they are, or if you have an idea, then you can print out the constellation. You can put it by your headboard. You can put it under your pillow. You can incorporate artwork and make the constellations into a beautiful frame or a painting, or into a beautiful tapestry that you can hang in the wall of your bedroom. So you can have fun with how you are inviting the constellation that you want to connect to into your bedroom. There might be fragrances that you can use. There might also be different symbology that you can find. But essentially, creating a dream altar or putting those symbols nearby could also open up your psyche, along with conversation and permission to connect with that starseed family, and always ask for protection from your higher power. So, my friends, that's going to conclude. I have a few little closing points. So, as we conclude and as we wrap up, here are some questions I want you to mull over. Chew on this. Try it. First thing is, which planets, starseed systems, or deities do you feel most called to? That might be a great starting point for you to discover who your starseed family and fleet is. The second question is, or I should say point, I want you to embody the elemental characteristics through your hobbies and your fashions. So if you find a starseed constellation or a starseed system that you're really attracted to, let's go to Venus. What are the qualities of Venus, and how would a Venusian behave? How do they, when you look it up, how do they say Venusians behave? Beautiful, lover of arts, expressive, generous, loving. So when I say embodying those qualities in your fashion and in your personality, your style, it's really leaning into your soul personality, bringing that part of you that you're like, "Ah, I don't understand why I'm like this," or I don't understand why I want to always do something like maybe rock climbing or skydiving. It's about, and I'm not trying to tell you to do anything unsafe, but bringing out that unique soul imprint that is within you and not sugarcoating that or stamping that down. Embody your star seed family, embody your culture from your star seed system, embody the culture from your star seed family, embody the culture from your star seed fleet. The same way you would embody the culture if you were from Barbados or if you were somewhere from maybe Spain, Mallorca. You want to let that culture ring true within you. So why do we cut it off when it's our starseed fleet? Because they're waiting to get in touch with you. I know they are. Who else is making videos like this? Nah, not many. So let me know how it goes. Don't forget to check in, do a little bit of homework, do your research, and most importantly, make sure you're staying safe, protect your mind, protect your body, protect your aura, protect your energy, protect your space, okay? Exploring our spirituality should be fun. It's sometimes dangerous, but most importantly, you should be having fun as you're going through this journey of your soul. It's time to remember, to reawaken, and to relive, my friend. And I'm happy to be here to help you to do that.